In the heart of the Ashanti region, nestled between the green hills of Kumasi, stood Akuafo Girls Senior High School, a prestigious institution known for its academic rigor and deep cultural traditions. The girls who attended were not only expected to excel in their studies, but also to be leaders in their communities. The school had beautiful, well-maintained gardens, tall palm trees lining the walkways, and walls painted in bright, traditional Adinkra symbols. Inside the campus, there was a constant hum of activity. Students moving between classes, the echo of drums during assembly, and the quiet prayers in the chapel. But there was one student who stood out above the rest, ESI. ESI was different from the other girls. Quiet and humble, she always kept to herself. Yet, her presence was magnetic. Teachers admired her discipline, classmates adored her politeness, and even the juniors looked up to her. But it wasn't her personality that captured everyone's attention the most. It was her hair. Every week, ESI would walk into school with a new hairstyle. Sometimes it was elaborate Kent-inspired braids, other times it was a sleek ponytail or an intricately styled updo. Her hair shimmered like freshly polished ebony, and no one had ever seen her sit down to get her hair done. It was as if her styles appeared out of thin air, perfect and flawless. At Akuafo Girls, every Friday, the students would line up in front of Mama Ajoa, the school's hairstylist, known for her deft hands and quick temper. The girls would sit for hours as she twisted, parted, and braided their hair into the style of the week announced by the social prefect, Amma. But ESI was different. She never stood in the queue, never sought Mama Ajoa's services, yet her hair was always done impeccably. The other girls often whispered about her mysterious hair, but no one dared ask her how she managed it. Afia, ESI's closest bunkmate, had once been her best friend. They had shared secrets, laughed together, and bonded over the challenges of adjusting to boarding school life. But as the semesters passed, Afia found herself feeling envious of ESI. She too was beautiful and witty, often the life of the dormitory, but ESI's calm aura and perfect hair made her fade into the background. The jealousy started to eat away at Afia, making her distant and bitter. One particular Friday, when the social prefect Amma announced that the hairstyle for the week would be the highly complex Asita crown, Afia felt a surge of determination. She had to know how ESI managed to style her hair so effortlessly. That night, after the dorm lights went out, Afia pretended to sleep, determined to catch ESI in the act. Hours passed, and just when Afia was about to drift off, she heard a faint rustling. Through half-open eyes, she watched as ESI slipped out of bed and silently tiptoed out of the dormitory. Curious, Afia followed her, careful not to make any noise. ESI moved swiftly, making her way to the bathroom. Afia held her breath as she peeked through the slightly ajar door. Her eyes widened in disbelief. There, under the dim fluorescent light, ESI sat, her head detached from her body, resting peacefully on her lap. Her hands moved with supernatural speed, braiding her hair with the precision of an ancient master weaver. Her headless body worked methodically, creating the perfect Asita crown without even glancing at a mirror. Afia gasped softly, her hand covering her mouth. What she was seeing was impossible. ESI wasn't human. She was something else, something ancient and powerful. The faint sound of humming filled the room, a haunting, melodic tune that seemed to resonate with the spirits of the land. Suddenly, ESI's head, still on her lap, opened its eyes and locked onto Afia's gaze. The humming stopped, and an eerie silence filled the room. Afia's heart pounded in her chest, and her legs felt weak as ESI's lips curled into a small, knowing smile. "Well," ESI said softly, her voice calm despite the chilling scene, "I suppose you've finally discovered my secret." Afia stood frozen, unable to speak, as ESI gently reattached her head with a quiet clicking sound. ESI stood up gracefully, walking toward her with an expression that was both kind and foreboding. She knelt down, her face just inches from Afia's. "This is something you cannot share with anyone," ESI whispered. "No one would believe you, and even if they did, it's not a secret meant for human ears." Trembling, Afia nodded, her mind racing. She knew ESI was right. No one at Akuafo Girls would believe such an outlandish story, and even if they did, the consequences of sharing it might be more than she could handle. "Go back to bed, Afia," ESI said gently, standing up. "You've seen enough for one night." With shaky legs, Afia stumbled back to the dormitory, her mind swirling with disbelief and fear. She lay in her bed for the rest of the night, unable to sleep, haunted by the image of ESI's headless body calmly braiding her hair in the cold, quiet bathroom. The next morning, as the girls gathered for breakfast, Afia watched as ESI strolled into the dining hall, her Asita crown shining in the morning sun. The other girls, as always, crowded around her, admiring her flawless hair. But Afia said nothing. She kept her distance, the weight of the secret she now carried too heavy for her to bear. From that day on, Afia never looked at ESI the same way again.